YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage back in Rome 2. This kind of feels like old times, but good times. I like Warhammer better than Rome 2. That's obvious because you can see what I put on there. But at the same time, this brings back a lot of good memories. Well, there's also some bad memories, like right when the game released and all the bad stuff going on. But I had a lot of fun times with y'all in Rome 2, and I enjoyed it. I have a lot of viewers out there who love this game and wish that I would show more of it. And it was late, and I had recorded a bunch of other stuff. And I just couldn't help but think of y'all out there. It's like, you know what? I owe some Rome 2 out there to the good folks on my channel who want to see some Rome 2. And there was a great replay sitting in my box, which I appreciate it being submitted. We got Greek Heracles and a Yawning Firefly, or Wolf Yawning Firefly. Gonna take on Bobby, or Bobby. Yeah, Bobby, I guess. And I here. So let's watch the replay. Gonna be Seleucids and Sparta versus Odrysians and Macedon. Odrysians potentially bringing some pretty lethal infantry to the field, depending on... And it doesn't look like any nobles there, which is interesting. They've gone a lot more horse-heavy. And then Sparta kind of going to be a potential backbone here in terms of adding some defensiveness and some skirmish. So let's just kind of see how this plays out. Seleucids... Yeah, so not a lot of attack from the infantry from Sparta or Seleucids. But we should see some really nice well, Seleucids have great cavalry. Spartans can do good skirmishing depending on what they bring. They got Helot archers, Gorgos skirmishers. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's take a look at the Odrysian army, because this is the one that typically is going to make it interesting, I think. So a couple of Thracian bows up front, some spears, 3 Thracian horse. Looks like 4 Thracian warriors, and I see 3 Thracian royal cavalry. That's a pretty significant. There is 1 Thracian noble. Apologize, I missed that. So 1 really tanky infantry in the back. Look at these Thracian cavalry supporting the Macedonian forces over here. Hopefully we're going to see some Thessalians. It looks like we do. So I see 2 Thessalians there, 1 companion cavalry for the general. Got to get a look at companion cavalry, right? Make Alexander proud here. Looking good, gents. Looking good. I do miss, like, the antiquity. I kind of wish that this game had, like, a 64-bit engine and, like, quest battles and some of the cool features that Warhammer does. Obviously no magic, though. Do imagine how cool it would be if they made a historical Total War title like this, where, like, you added a magic element that were, like, the god powers of each faction, you know, like, where their gods would join in and, like, create these heavenly powers, and, like, oh, man, that'd be freaking awesome. Like a combination of the fantasy and the history too would be really cool. Good looking game. Rome 2, like I said, had its moments when it first released, but in its current state, good looking game, lots of fun to play. If you're looking for a Total War game, and like maybe you've played Warhammer and none of the others, and you might want to look at the others, I mean, Rome 2 was fun. Attila was fun, Rome 2 was fun, Shogun 2 was fun. Since you're not buying Rome 2 at release, you don't have to worry about some of the issues that it had. Let's look at Macedon's main line here. Thurio spears. Mercenary Thracian warriors. Interesting. So a lot of Thracians in this. And then a shield bearer with 2 militia hoplites on the flank supporting the Thessalians. So almost trying to be like the Hypaspis there. Let's kind of see what happens. So Thurio spears doing a little bit of javelin work. There's some levy pikes up front for the Seleucids. So, I mean, the spears, the Thurios could try and cause some damage to the pikemen, as could the slingers here, I would think. But the slingers look like they are trying to deal with the eastern slingers, which should have them outmatched. There is an Indian armored elephant. So speaking of cool units, here's one. That Indian armored elephant could be potentially brutal if it can stay away from like shock cavalry and skirmishers and stuff like that. Thorax swords just took a hit from the Thessalians, but they're going to be countercharged by Median cavalry. And they're not going to like that very much. So the Thessalians kind of falling apart here, and already the elephants putting together a push for this flank. Slingers aren't going to probably drive the elephants crazy too quickly. It's the Thurio spears that they would have to watch out for. Looks like the elephants may be pulling back from that a little bit here. Persian hoplites falling in with Median cavalry up against Thessalians, militia hoplites. The shield bearers, which again is a very cool looking unit, they're up in combat over here. So very heavily armored hoplite unit. One of the cooler looking hoplite units in the game, I think. Let's take a look over here between Sparta and Thracia. or the Odrysians, I should say, Thracia, if we were talking about Rome 1. And I haven't played Rome 1 in so long. It might be good just for the lulz to go back to that one. Looks like the Thracians are being pretty heavily skirmished by Sparta here. And they're splitting up and trying to get around the flanks, it looks like, because they can't attack this Spartan pike line in the center. And it looks like their skirmishers are trying to hold back so that they don't just get killed by the superior Spartan skirmishers. But yeah, the Thracians right now having a hard time breaking their way through the Spartans is what it looks like. The Spartans are spread out real thin here to try and cover as much ground as possible. Gonna get a charge between the Thracian horsemen and the citizen cavalry. I would think the Thracian horsemen would best citizen cavalry, just about everything best citizen cavalry. But there's backup for the Spartans here. Spartan hoplites, heroes of Sparta, 2 heroes of Sparta. So some very tough hoplite units over here going to charge in and help fight back some of this cavalry as well. Let's go back to the other side of the battle, see what's going on. Elephants still kind of sitting back waiting. Looks like the militia hoplites being hit in the back, or no, being supported by Thracian cavalry. That's friendly Thracian cavalry. Look at the Thessalians coming in for the rear charge here. Hammer and anvil tactic. Very nice. So Thessalian cavalry getting a decent charge, but then being countercharged by the Median cavalry, which is going to be a little more stable in a long, drawn-out fight, whereas the Thessalians are going to be hitting harder with the charge. So quite a lot of skirmish going on. There's some pikes in the center. Unfortunately, the pike action in Rome 2 was a little bit disappointing. One thing that they should have fixed that they never did. Now check out this Macedonian cavalry breaking through, getting into the slingers. This is going to be a nice play, but again, it looks like more Median cavalry here to protect. A countercharge is given, so we'll see. The Thessalian cavalry might get some damage done on the charge, but it's in kind of a rough situation. There's thorax swords, and then there's elephants, all kinds of units around to support, so Macedonian cavalry charge there may be a bit desperate, depending, but I mean, they're trying to shut down the skirmishers here. The Thracian royal cavalry charging in, Spartan hoplites then getting charged by Thracian warriors, who should rack up a pretty considerable number of kills, but they cause significant damage to the Thracian royal cavalry here. And the Thracians are just not getting anywhere up against the Spartans. Spartans living up to their reputation here. So the Odrysians being driven back and not able to penetrate the Spartan front lines with their pikes. So Thracians may be trying to do a little bit of skirmishing here while the skirmishers are busy working down a Thracian royal cavalry, and doing so quite effectively here. The Helot archers pulling down the Thracian cavalry and then the support being sent in. So nice play there. Nice play indeed. Let's kind of see what's going on here. Here comes the companion cavalry. Maybe we'll see some action out of them. So these Thracian warriors trying to fight down some Persian hoplites. Shield bearers, 149 kills taking on the thorax swords. But look at this Median cavalry breaking through now, and the slingers of Macedon. And some risk, but nice throws here from the Thurio spears. And the companion cavalry looks like it wants to come shut down these Medians before they can do their damage. They're going to pull away from it, probably towards the slingers, to try and get the damage done. Like I said, there is the Thurio support over here. The elephants still just kind of hanging back for the Seleucid players, and it is better to save them until late game if you have the opportunity. Yeah, the Medians just trying to crash through here and get a hold of a slinger unit and do some damage. Quickly followed up by the companion cavalry, which should destroy the Medians on the charge there. It's a very heavy shot cavalry, and it got a clean charge, so the Medians are going to die rather quickly. Got caught out behind their lines. So the Thracian player here being very slow and persistent, though. I mean, they weren't able to get a ton of breaks, but just kind of slowly working, keeping the Spartan busy at least here. Comes the Thracian royal cavalry, going to get the citizen cav. That's going to be chased down by Spartan hoplites. But there are Thracian warriors and Thracian nobles ready to support, but there's plenty of Helot archers in the area too, and these slaves are firing away, and you can see them actually wrecking the royal cavalry here, so royal cavalry dropping. Macedon still meeting with some decent success over here, kind of against the Seleucids, it looks like. And these Thracian horsemen are the teammates of Macedon. So let's see how this plays out here. Is this a shield bearer? Sure is. 171 kills and they live on, so pretty honorable display there. Persian hoplites fighting off thorax swords, mercenaries, and more thorax swords there. So looks like the skirmishers may be coming over to try and wear down the pike line and see if they can get through, because the Spartan here being very defensive in the formation, and it's worked so far. These Thracian peltasts look like they're trying to get some work done here. Thracian peltasts are pretty decent melee afterwards too. One of the cool melee unit or peltast units in the game. Very, very nice peltast. So yeah, they're working on the Spartan pikemen. So it looks like that the Spartan and the Macedonians trying to work down the pikes so that they have a chance of trying to break this formation. So you can see the Macedonian player now getting hit by the elephants, who have been saved rather nicely, I think, until later in this game. Slingers are putting down some fire. It will damage the elephants, and it can potentially drive them crazy. Yeah, see these Thracian cavalry over here with their javelins, definitely something the elephants want to avoid, so the elephants being smartly removed from that combat rather quickly. So the Thracian nobles over here getting a considerable number of kills, but it looks like they've been withered away, so these nobles withered away by the Helot archers nearby, so not the most noble way to die for these Thracian nobles at the hands of the Spartan slaves. Here comes the Gorgo skirmishers, these angry women not happy about what's going on, and there's a Thracian peltast being thrown into combat here. Like I said, they're decent in melee. I don't know how they'll stand up to heavier infantry like a Spartan pikeman. That's not a real heavy infantry, so actually the peltast should do pretty darn well. Really well. In fact, they are racking up kills at an absurd pace right now. They're not concerned about these angry women or the angry women's friends. Look at this. No problem stabbing a woman there. Brutal. So yeah, these Thracian peltasts are in just the kind of melee fight where they will do extremely well. Look at their stats here. Like, their stats are just so superior. And they just wreck the Gorgo skirmishers there. So, nicely played. These Thracian bowmen are running away from the Gorgo skirmishers. They don't want to get caught. Let's see, it looks like Macedon's kind of reforming over here. And the Thracians only have this little bit of Thracian horsemen left, which is engaging some citizen cavalry. And it looks like its leadership is suffering here, so we'll kind of see what happens. If it can stay in combat for a while, it may do some work, but the citizen cavalry actually looks like it's superior to the Thracian cavalry. Believe it or not, I didn't know that any unit could be inferior to citizen cavalry, but it looks like it. So the question's going to be, is there ammo left?
Into formation!
And how much ammo? Is it enough to wear through the Spartan pike lines? Now remember, the Spartan pikemen actually have pretty fair armor for a pike unit, and spread out really thin. They can be kind of annoying to try and kill, and then you got the elephants to worry about too. Like, if you spend all your ammo on the pikes, you've got to deal with the elephants. But if the pikes box up in a late game scenario like this, then you're in big trouble. It's interesting here that Macedon is the one on the battlefield without pikes. They're famous for it. Ooh, crap. Sorry, I bumped my microphone. Give me just a second. Got to get it reset here, so sorry if there was some noise. I am on the road recording, so my setup is not quite as secure as it is at the house, so apologize for all the noise that I'm sure you just heard there if it scared you half to death. It's okay. It's okay. It didn't hurt me one bit. Let's see. So, lame jokes aside, let's see how this fight's going to play out. Do we still have ammo here? Sure do. It looks like the slingers still have ammo. I don't know. Now they're charging forward with the... I thought I saw daggers in the hands of some of them, but I don't see it on all of them. The elephants have to be dealt with, so I'd be curious to see whether or not there's any ammo left in the Thracian cavalry. That's probably one of their best options here. These Thracian peltasts, if they had ammo, that would be good too. These Thracian peltasts are finally run down 188 kills later. 189, take it. They weren't done yet. That was a pretty impressive number of kills for a Thracian peltast. So the pikemen now are going to be a big nuisance. How can the pikemen be dealt with, if at all? Kind of see how this plays out. Looks like the Spartan and the Seleucid player keep repositioning for a defensive spot here. The two citizen cavalry lived, and are in pretty good shape. It's going to add some much needed mobility to the Spartan and Seleucid team here, which is otherwise relying on quite a lot of heavy infantry. These Spartan pikemen are actually going to charge forward and try and get into combat against the Thuriospears, and then probably drop their pikes afterwards. Kind of odd to imagine how you could drop a giant Sarissa, charge forward, and then somehow automatically have it in your hands again. Yeah. And here come the elephants. There are some javelins coming in from back here on the Thracian Peltis, so a nice clutch to hang on to those javelins, because they're going to be extremely handy here in the late game. These are armored elephants. They may go crazy pretty quickly, which they are, but they won't drop super quickly necessarily. Enough javelins will do it, but their armor will keep them protected a little bit longer from the Thracian Peltis. And the Thracian Peltis, this was really clutch, but I'm pretty sure they just threw their last javelins there, so the elephants are now going to keep berserking. And the cavalry now pushing the slingers. So this is looking pretty rough for Macedon and the Odrysians here. In fact, I think it's about to wrap up against them from what I'm seeing. So let's just get some close-up kills of these elephants doing what they do best, which is wrecking. Gotta love these Indian armored elephants. These Thracian Peltis not so lucky here. They won't be getting quite so many kills versus these elephants in melee. The elephants just rampaging all over the battlefield. There's some Macedonian slingers here who look like they might be about to be elephant food. Oh yeah. Those slingers are going to get absolutely wrecked. So the saving of the Seleucid elephants to the late game definitely going to be a decisive factor here. Ends up being a costly victory for the Seleucids and Macedon in a fun battle. Appreciate the players who participated here. It was fun to watch. Did they break? Okay, no, I was going to say, did they break the end screen in Rome 2 also? So there's Greek Heracles and Firefly, who were able to come out victorious against Bobby and I here. Let's check out Heracles' units here to see which one clutched out some of the most important stuff. I mean, Citizen Cavalry actually performing very well for being Citizen Cavalry. And the Spartan Pikes kind of obviously holding up the center, being very important units there. 140 kills on that Heroes of Sparta. So not bad. Let's check out Yawning Firefly. 190 kills on the elephants in the end, which is pretty sweet. 2 chevrons they picked up, and then some nice kills down here on the thorax swords as well, and then some decent numbers on the slingers. The Eastern slingers are pretty nice slingers. Interesting to see this many kills on a Persian hoplite as well. So very interesting how that turned out. And then the Odrysian Kingdom here, the Royal Cavalry just not paying dividends here for Bobby at this point. This Thracian Peltis, though, these guys were my MVP. Some awesome kills there against some of the units. I love seeing these guys do good in melee because, you know, you always get those like hybrid units that were meant to be good at skirmishing, but maybe also a little decent in melee, and it's kind of fun to see them actually do well at both there, so that's pretty cool. And then some decent kills on this Thessalian cavalry there, and the shield bearers were obviously an impressive unit there too. Hope you all enjoyed that one. Appreciate these replays being sent in. Sorry it's been a while since I've had some Rome 2. You will get to see Rome 2 from time to time, so nothing to worry about there. It's not gone permanently from my channel or anything. We'll get some of it in as time goes by. So those who send in good replays like this, thank you. You're helping me bring that content out. I appreciate each and every one of you who watch the videos, like the videos, comment, donate, whatever it is you're doing. I appreciate your support. You're fantastic. Appreciate MSI sponsoring the motherboard in my computer that I typically record these with. I'm actually recording with one of their laptops. It's not sponsored, one I bought. I'm going to do some review on it, but appreciate their help with the channel. I will see you all soon and hope you enjoyed it.